and we was a reality TV show. We went all over the country, you know, shooting in all different tourism destinations, and we started with 2,000 entries, and we narrowed down to having 5 winners. We've also produced the Ruwenzori Mountains of the Moon documentary. We manage the Nyege Nyege Festival, which is probably Uganda's biggest tourism event. We also produce the Ekyoto Hampango Festival in Fort Portal together with Toro Kingdom, which is a festival that, you know, really promotes culture and tourism as well. We've been involved with tourism campaigns such as Take on the Pearl, Explore Uganda, the Tell Your Story campaign, which is going on right now. We've brought a lot of international artists to Uganda, and we've tried, whenever we bring them, we always try to do tourism campaigns with them. Like, for example, when Diplo came to Uganda, he came with GQ magazine, and it was a front page story that featured Uganda. When we brought Jidena here, we took him to Murchison Falls National Park, and it made a lot of international press. And of course, we work closely with POATE. We're the event managers, and, you know, we help put this event together as well.
Awesome. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. I'll move to you, Ricky. You are transforming urban mobility into a tourist experience. What exactly do you mean by that? What is the role of safe border, safe car in the marketplace, especially as regards to tourism?
Thank you. The thing is that it's very simple, that when people come to any city, their first impression of how they get around is very important. When we travel outside, how we enter and how we leave the city is part of the story that we get to tell other people. So with Safe Border, you get to realize that most of the travelers are very aware, they're comfortable with using technology. You get to realize that when people come, they already know of the travel apps that they can actually use and options to be able to access different services. We were among the first companies many years ago to build an app for motorcycle taxi. The idea started around 2014. We had an app around 2015, 2016, which people never used. Of course, it wasn't as good as what we have today that people started enjoying around 2017, 2018, and we have improved. So the impression of people, of travelers when they come to the city becomes important. Now, any bad experience that travelers get to interface, they also tell that story. Now, they tell those same stories to potential future travelers, and they make a choice to either come back to Kabaragala or they better go to Acacia Mall. So this is a choice that for us, we made at the very beginning, that it is important, if we care about our own country, to also promote safety, especially also provide an option for people to be able to travel and have an awesome experience that they can share with others, and they also have a story that they can tell. I will tell you, for our local people, and I don't mean local in a bad way, for the natives, for our Ugandans, at the very beginning, people used to ask us, why do I need an app for a border when I actually have one outside my gate? Tourists will not ask you, why do I need an app for a border? Because it is important that they travel with a recognized group of people, not just anybody. Because as you know, even as when you travel to another country, it's going to be hard for you to pick anybody from the street and be able to ride with them and be comfortable with them. Unless probably they are in like some sort of a branded cars and all of that. So we're just enabling movement not only for the people, but also for the regional and international travelers, which becomes a very important component of our economy. Ability for us to move people safely from point A to point B means a direct contribution to what our economy also means sustainability for even more customers to come. And the fact that we are able to protect tourists or travelers who come to the country, it means more business for us as a country.
Awesome indeed. Actually, I have found myself, not even just with tourism, the whole idea of safety, especially in travel. It's really the underlying foundation of trusting and being able to, get you around. Jackie, I want to quickly jump to you. After watching that video, of course, and you've been explaining this whole thing of the Ugandan experience, creating authentic destination weddings that sell, do you want to paint a picture for us? Like, what's your view on this? Like, your perspective of when we are creating these things, what should we have in mind? We do weddings. I know you have been doing events before you got into tourism full-time. Yeah. I knew you as an events planner, wedding planner, and I think you're a global wedding planner of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that briefly?
Thank you, Roger. Yes, I've done weddings for over 12 years, and we were in Kampala, in the normal city, doing hotel weddings in gardens, and it was almost the same thing. With weddings, you need to be creative. Imagine they keep bringing you to the same hall to create something, and this bride says, I want something different. I want something different. Over time, I sat down and had to re-strategize, but it all started from when I visited global conferences. We have been part of Exotic Wedding Planners. We've actually also been part of the International Indian Wedding Conferences, and everything is almost the same and somehow better than what we have when it comes to hotel facilities. They have, you look at the exhibitors, they have Italy, they have Turkey, they have Dubai, and how do I compete? I had to come back and ask deeply, what do I have different? And the next conference I attended, it was the Exotic Wedding Planners Conference. I went with this different perspective of events in the wild. Everyone turned because that was something no one had. Events in the wild, I realized it is that simple of, even when it comes to our locals, they've struggled with big budgets with weddings in the city. But every time you decide to go and celebrate in the wild, it is because you've already given people an experience. You don't have to even over-decorate. A simple setup, a good itinerary. You're giving people a celebration with a climax of a safari. Let's say the itinerary, they come, they arrive, they check in. In the evening, they have campfire. You bring a saxophone. You do games. The following day, they go for a game drive. They come back, they do a themed party, have vows being renewed or said afresh by the River Nile. It's enough. You don't need chandeliers all over. That's how I can describe it. And the following day they do a boat cruise. When people come back, they talk about it. That is to the locals. Internationally, I feel we've not given people out there to come. It's always been about vacation. How many times do you take a vacation? You can easily postpone the vacation, but if your sister tells you, I'm getting married in Uganda, if it means borrowing, you'll borrow. You'll save the date, you must be there. So destination weddings increase tourism. It's a ripple effect. If you are receiving only 2 tourists as a couple, this time you're having a group. The parents are on board. It also comes to, even if I'm collaborating with an international wedding planner, they're not going to carry a photographer. They will call me and say, can I deal with your photographer? Can I deal with your florist? So in terms of economy, it even pushes us further. Thank you.
Wow. Well, after watching that video, definitely the ideas are many. And just quickly, so I have all my panelists introduced, we have from FUFA, he's going to talk about sports tourism, Mr. Rogers Byamukama. Let me quickly throw in the deep end. When we talk about sports tourism, the first thing, and especially here in the Ugandan setting, most people will be thinking about the more foreign sports. It's like they want to go watch the English Premier League, or those who can afford go for Formula One races in Dubai or wherever the races are. Not Monaco though, but yeah, maybe. What's the story like in Uganda when we talk about sports tourism? Is it just football? What's the landscape like?
Thank you, Roger, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rogers Byamukama. I'm a FUFA Executive Committee member. I was part of the Pamoja bid. I was part of the 10-man people that did the AFCON bid for Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. And now I am on the local organizing committee of CHAN and AFCON. Sports tourism is essentially travel to attend or to participate in a sports event. Now the question is, in Uganda, since we're talking about emerging products, what is it that people come for to attend in Uganda in terms of sports? You know, like you've ably put it, we have a lot of Ugandans that travel all over the world following all these sporting events, be it World Cup, Euros, Formula One circuit, rugby sevens, or World Cup, or cricket, mention it. But what is it in our country in terms of sports that brings people from all over the world to come into Uganda? And that is something that we must look at as a country. From a football perspective, when we hatched the idea of hosting AFCON in this part of the world, we thought it was a great opportunity because this part of the world has not hosted a major footballing event almost since we have been around. And one of the challenges has always been infrastructure. So for us as FUFA, we felt that if we lobbied government to buy into our idea of hosting, and we're very smart enough, you know, to rope in other 2 East African countries, so that the burden of hosting becomes lessened, and that is across the East African countries. But the infrastructure alone is bringing expertise, is bringing money into the country, is bringing increased demand for, you know, goods and services, logistics. You can imagine, for instance, the Hoima City Stadium, in the final bend, in the next 2 months, they will be receiving 400 containers of goods for finishing the project. Now you can imagine, in terms of the whole project, how much goods have been brought into the country in terms of raw materials, in terms of the haulage companies that have been ferrying these containers, the jobs that are being created, the taxes that are being paid by all these service providers. What is that signature event that Uganda needs to be famed for, and people should be coming around here? If you look around the space within the neighborhood, Kenya has the World Rally Championship. You've all seen it on social media. You can imagine, I am told it is about $20 million weekend, you know. Kenya also has the World Athletics Championships. Those are the kind of things. If you look at South Africa, for instance, they do the rugby 7 circuit, you know, and a lot of Ugandans do travel there. In Uganda, we've had a few events, the Rwenzori Marathon, which is about 2 years now, 4 years. The Kampala Marathon, which I'm told, the word on the street is that it is phasing out. So what are we selling out there in terms of sports tourism? We are happy that CHAN is coming in August. We have been bedeviled by a few bureaucratic challenges that this country is oftentimes has. Will not be able to get the real benefits of CHAN, but we are hoping AFCON 2027 will have enough time to be able to sell it across the globe, and we can be able to good top-end sports tourists. And if you look at the global aspects, I think in terms of tourism, the sports subsector is the fastest growing sector within tourism. It is expected between now and 2030 to grow at about 17.5. 2024 study by Sports Events Association estimates that the total market around participating within global sporting events was at about 640.2. If you look at the travel cost alone for people traveling into sporting events, it's 2024 again, $3.4 billion. With Uganda Airlines now opening up all these routes, you know, to Europe, to Asia, and within Africa, how much of that $6.4 billion is Uganda Airlines targeting? You know, If you look around the employment figures, both contract and part-time, 2024, once again, about 800,000 jobs for people directly employed within activities. For instance, if we talk about Chan, for instance, or AFCON, the workforce and volunteers, both on contract and part-time. Now with Uganda, where the biggest population, just like India, is within the youth segment, and unemployment levels soaring year in, year after, including all the thousands, the tens of thousands graduates that we get out of our unis every day. You can imagine if we had sporting events that are bringing people that have huge uptake in terms of workforce, either volunteers or on contract, you can imagine what a relief it would be to government. But also, most importantly, is the knowledge transfer. Because when these events come, they come with international aura and international exposure and experiences and workforce. So when you have young people, either as volunteers or on contract, they are able to pick so much knowledge transfer that eventually can stay in here and we use it for future events, but also that we can export into, major sporting events or associations.
Thank you very much, namesake. I'll quickly jump to you, Ayund, about you've really explained to us the Indian market very well, especially regarding tourism. There was one particular slide you had there that talked about, if I remember correctly, gig tripping, and then it had staycation. I don't know whether we can have that projected again, because my question is going to be drawn around there. But while that's being set up, could you kindly share with us or give us some insights on how the Indian market, let me actually ask a three-pronged question. One, how do we engage the Indian consumer to travel, and and how does Uganda position itself in this, so we can tap into what we just saw there, the 30% Gen Zs, the millennials, and I saw the graph, I still remember the figures. And also, what's the awareness level of the Ugandan tourism industry in India? Maybe that should be a plateful now. Right.
Thank you, Roger. When I talk about the awareness level of Uganda in the Indian market, it's absolutely, people hardly know about the immense potential this beautiful country has, right? So the awareness level is quite less. So how do we engage the Indian travelers is, of course, the first, as I mentioned, we have almost close to 900 million internet users, and then we have about 350 million Instagram users. So, your activations could be quite heavily focused on the digital, on tapping the digital Indian traveler. So it can be through social media campaigns, it can be through maybe partnership with the prominent travel agencies in India, bringing in the influencers. So there are Instagram influencers who have almost close to more than 2 to 5 million follower base, and maybe bring them here and then show them the beautiful destination and change the whole narrative. Uganda is very well connected from India. Visa is not an issue. I got my visa within a day and spent $50, and then I got the visa online. I did not have to go to a visa facility center and then wait in long queues to get my visa, right? So, and of course the excellent connections, like I mentioned, we have different, Uganda Air has non-stop flight from India. It takes about 7 hours. So all of these can be highlighted, and then you would see the wave of Indians coming into this beautiful country.
Right. We've stolen your slide again.
Oh, okay.
Using it to sort of illustrate a lot of the conversations we're having somehow are rotating and gravitating around there. Okay. Again, I'm sure Jackie would like to pick it from there. What type of celebrations? That's the question I'm going to throw at you. What type of celebrations, away from weddings, what else can we bring here? For example, we want to tap into his market. What do we bring? What do we, beyond weddings?
Celebrations, and you can celebrate life and you can celebrate like love. In terms of life, birthday, families can do a family reunion. Children can choose to say, thank you, Dad and Mom, you've taken care of us for a long time. Let's gift you with a trip, and maybe we come along. We are now all grown up and married. So that's a whole family reunion and the bonding. When it comes to apart from weddings, let's say you got married years back, either the budget was tight by then or you didn't have the wedding that you wanted. This time you can have a group of 30 people, close people. And the advantage with these destination weddings from international people, when you even get to divide the budget, they actually help you the budget. Because when you get a quotation that has accommodation and the setup and the safari and the boat cruise, you divide, you come with a total and you divide. And then you're like, are you my friend? I'm going to Uganda. The contribution is $1,000, $2,000, you and your family. Before you know it, you're actually having an event supported by your family and friends. You come in and you're basically paying for you as the couple, and then your different couple, friends or family, they've actually done their bit of the bill. The advantage with this whole bit is that even lodges are extending. I'm trying to have some partnerships. They are extending some discounted rates from the rate that you definitely get on online. And this event has a small cake, it has some entertainment, it has the boat cruise, it has a setup. You don't sweat it. It's not too much a ballroom gown or something. No, something white linen works. So in terms also of corporate side, we can have retreats. We can have retreats. Alumni, people can be organizations. In Uganda, we have Rotary, we have Lions Club, we have all these clubs can say, let's go. Let's go. And when he talks about awareness, it's obviously a tough one because us from Uganda, the locals, we've actually not really embraced this. And we are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. They are supposed to know us from what we post, but we are posting events around Kampala. That is all they know about us. I have had couples come in my office and they are interested in a destination wedding. 3 weeks, 1 month down the road, they're like, you know what, our parents refused. So as a community, if we embrace this, not everyone definitely goes for a destination wedding, but if you realize your child has this taste, they would want to have the event in the wild, or it's a family reunion, and you go ahead and have this event. After filming it, you post that reel on TikTok, on what? Before you know it, India will know it, Europe will know it. That's why I said world celebrations came from me going to this conference, and all they knew was the Uganda in Kampala, and and there was many more uniqueness to what they had. Until I started speaking of events in the wild, until I started talking about you can have the vows by the Makshon Falls. That's when people turn to listen to me. So to me, you can celebrate in the wild anytime.
You can celebrate anytime, indeed. And for those of you who are here, you've not yet planned your events, well, you can, I hope it's okay for us to share our contacts after this.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, and also if you have any question that you'd like to give to any one of our, shoot to any one of our panelists, you could scribble it down. At some point we'll have feedback from you. You can direct your question to whoever it is that has, whose attention you like to get. Okay, moving on again, still in the area of transport, because I know, Ricky, you've been in the market for a while, and you have seen quite a lot of things. There's the experience that comes with just doing this every day in, day out, and expanding and seeing how people are receiving the service. And I know that you still, your vision probably sees 10 years from now, there's certain steps that you've taken now, but there's a place you'd like to go. What are those things that need to be done for us to, to transform, like you said, this urban travel that we're talking about in tourism? What do we need to do?
Rogers, thank you. Before even I get to answering directly your question, I'd also want to use this platform to inform those who didn't know that besides just being a border rider many years ago, which I joined around early 2011, late 2010, I was also one of the very first Ugandans who started showing people Kampala on the back of a motorcycle. I founded what is known as the Kampala Border City Tours in 2012 with one of my friends called Walter. And what we did was something very simple. And let me also tell you guys where all this story came from. It came from meeting a customer who was a Muzungu, to be specific, a lady who was interested in seeing Kampala more than just, moving from a hotel to where she was doing the consultancy and then going back. She gave me a challenge. At that point, I'd just entered border riding, and she told me, Ricky, when we travel to other places, because I was also recommended to her by some other customer that I'd met during my work as a rider. She told me, when we travel to places, we get to have an opportunity to at least a day or two that you spend in the city before you probably go to the Maxon Falls. You have an activity that you do in the city, and most of the cities have this. And now I also hope that even the cities within Uganda are going to start to have this, because I know now we have the capital city plus other cities. This includes Dokolo is not one of them, Lira, Gulu, Arua. Those are the only ones I can remember for now, including Masaka, Mbarara, and the rest. These are some of the cities. But outside, when you travel, this lady told me, whenever we travel, we actually get to have an opportunity to see, go through the history and get to know what happens, and also do like what you call like the nightlife. So she challenged me, and she went on Google. At that time, I didn't know how to use internet. And this was around 2011, 2012. That was actually early 2012. And she Googled and came back with a list of places. And I will just read them. Like, it had like the Baha'i Temple, it had the Gaddafi Mosque, it had the 7 hills that makes up Kampala, it had like Owino Market, it had like the King's Lake, the man-made lake, it had the new Scottish Parliament, it had the Kasubi tombs, it had the Means torture chamber. And I was like, eh. And to be honest, I was a border guy riding in Kampala, but I didn't even know how do you tell me about a Means torture chamber in Kampala? I had no idea where these places existed. I knew that the Baha'i Temple was somewhere in Chikaya with a very dusty road at that time. I had no reason to go there unless if I had a customer to take me. So with this information, she gave me the boyfriend, and she said, Ricky, I want you to take this boyfriend of mine to visit some of these places. No idea. I went to a place, asked, do they allow people, visitors here? They tell me yes, then they take us to the history. And I did this. I went to the first destination, of course, was Baha'i. Then I went to Gaddafi Mosque, and they accepted it. I met a guy called Ashraf Ziwa, the spokesperson, actually. You guys should be seeing him. He speaks for the Muslim Council. So then he helped me a lot in understanding the religion, the history, how that land was given, how the place was built. And then he took me through the 380 steps. You know, when you go to Gaddafi Mosque, there's a point where you're able to see Kampala at 360 degrees. So we walked us through up to the top, and then he showed us Kampala. You know, we were able to see the park. And my Muzungu was very happy, and I'm like, Ricky, you're killing it. So after that, we left. They directed me where the Royal Mile was. If we ask people here where the Royal Mile is, it could actually be a whole disaster, you know. Then the new Scottish Parliament is what you actually call the Bulanga. I think it's called the Bulanga, the Parliament for Uganda. Then we had a ride. The stretch between Bulanga and the palace is actually what you call the Royal Mile, where you don't have to go in the middle of, because it's only the king that goes through. We entered, I asked, then they took me through the entire history. I got a chance to see the nice car that the king rode, many years ago. We went underground, saw the means of the chamber. I was like, this is real. The Man's-Made Lake, I knew there was a Man's-Made Lake. I knew there was a lake, what was it, Kabaka Lake. I didn't know it was called the Man's-Made, the only man-made lake in Kampala. So we went through and saw it. We did some fishing. Then we drove through the ring road, then came to Owino. And I can tell you surely, I had my $30. And this was early 2012. We came back. She gave the guy, she gave the boy, the girlfriend a review of what actually happened. And she was like, Ricky, you know what? I want to do this, but you have to take all of us. I know the Safe Border team is here, but please forgive me. I was a young man at the time, growing, so I carried all of them and took them on the same route again. On the same bike. That was 2012. What are you looking for, my friend? Now I took them on that same trip. Remember when I took only the guy, the lady recommended that I be paid $30. At that time, $30 was around 78,000 shillings. As a borderman, that was too much money. Now when I took both of them, I was paid $50. And she advised me that you need to give them a discount. Now, when you take two, you give a discount, and then you get $50. For a border man to earn $50, it was a big life-changing experience for me. Now, it became part of the transformation, part of the business, that instead of being a normal border rider, I actually started becoming a promoter, actually a tour guide. And a friend, a customer that I met through the recommendation, helped me build a website, helped put my business on TripAdvisor. Before I realized it, I was a very famous young man. And what used to happen is that the borders that I was working with used to admire me because I always had the best on the back. So, you know, you have like customers who pay more. And then they keep wondering where I keep getting my customers from. Of course, I had an added advantage. Even today, if I go back to riding, I'll still be ahead of many of them. Because of the fact that I come from as far as Dokolo, and I didn't know Uganda, so the only communication language I had was English, so it worked to my advantage. So meeting all these experts and all of that helped me a lot. And so I was able to actually to build my first business, probably my second business at the time, which was border tourism. Now, it is actually the birth and the transition to safe border that now led me to kind of reduce on promoting the border tourism. But then this is what happened actually. As I was transitioning to building safe border, all the boys that I was working with got now more involved, and then everybody that was working for me ended up becoming a tour guide. So people actually created their own tour business out of mine. So when you go to the side, you'll actually see Walters, you know, there's Walter, there is Kampala Border, which is what I started. And then there are others which are named after individuals who were actually working together. So the thing is that when people look at tourism, it's something that everybody can play a role in. And it's life transforming because for me, if probably my friend didn't die like in a border accident, transition to becoming like a road advocate, a road safety advocate, I think I would be deeply into tourism. I'll tell you, I've done trips that most of the people have never done, and if I say I'm selling it to most people here, they might not like it. I used to do what you call the Eastern tour. Now the Eastern tour was a complete trip, which would pay me around $400. And this is how the itinerary would be. We'd wake up exactly at 7, pick you from where you are, drive you up to Namugongo. I take you through the history, you get to see. Then from Namugongo, I'll drive you up to Sipi. Is it called Sipi? Sipi Falls? No, not Sipi. Sezibwa, yeah. Sezibwa Falls. Then after Sezibwa Falls, we would do either of the two. Would actually go to see the monkey, the red-tailed monkeys, and do a walk in Mabira, or we'll go and do zip lining. So depending on what the client wants. And after that, we'll take a ride from Mabira now to Jinja, the source of the Nile. We do a boat ride, or we do like some floating, or do like a ride in the lake. And then after that, I will drive you back to Kampala. And that trip alone would have me around $400. It was a very risky business, but I have, in situations I've had people, I've had clients up to as high as 6 clients on one route. And that meant big business for me. So when you look at urban movement, urban transportation, it is important that it is good for us, the locals, but also good for people or foreigners who are actually coming. And I tell you, part of the biggest problem that that the industry has always been facing has been the question of pricing, and the question of direction. You ask a border guy who doesn't, you meet a border guy who actually doesn't know the language that you're speaking or doesn't know very well English, and then you're mentioning the place and he doesn't know, and you let him go, you stop another one, doesn't know where you're going, you stop another one, doesn't know where you're going, and it's just a whole disaster for everybody. With the coming in of safe border, you are actually able to dictate and actually tell, even direct the driver, even when you don't know the language, you just say here, this way, that way, and you end up to your location. Now, one of the issues that we also have is that when people travel, the families are usually very worried about them. Because you are in Kampala, so where are you going? What are you traveling with? And all of that. You can actually even share and let people know that I am actually on a safe border. And you can tell them I am actually here and I'm about to reach. And the other thing also is that, of course, it used to make for us more money as a border rider. Is that when you meet a traveler who doesn't know the fare, he has just arrived today, you can charge $50 for a trip from
here to the gate.
That is if you choose not to take them on a rotation, because also that is another trick. So all of those issues, including insecurity and question of safety, the question of pricing, has all been sorted by the coming of safe border. And before even I forget, I really would just want to appreciate Ugandans for supporting us. And please, you know, I meet people, you know, sometimes you go out and you meet people and they're like, Ricky, tukwa desente nyingi nafe tuguriremoko. But the honest truth is that we are who we are because Ugandans accepted that. Ugandans have agreed to continue to support us. And we've been on many other platforms or many other events, and many companies have been able to work with us and support us because they also believed in us. So, of course, even for companies that needs to know where your teams are during work hours, how they are traveling, clear accountability of the movement, we have a proper B2B service that will help you sort out all those accounting issues. And you only pay for the time that the person is traveling, not for the day that the person has, or that the car has been seated waiting for people. So literally we have figured out everything. It would be a good thing that HR and procurement from other departments gets to speak to us. Those, you see, even me, I'll be around, but the team premium, where are you guys? Where are the safe border team?
Ricky, yeah. It's at that point that the invoice comes in.
Rogers, can I have to do this now before it is late?
Go right.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Ricky. I want to share with you my experience, actually, when you just started out with the border tourism. I remember it was 2015 when, for the very first time, someone had been telling me about local tourism on a border, and I said, no, this is ridiculous. But yeah, just one day I just decided to sit on one of them. We were actually a group of friends. It was a birthday celebration. And then they took us on they called it a faith tourism, where we went to the Baha'i temple. There's the temple in Nakasero, and then we went to Namgongo. And speaking of Namgongo, that's another one of those big faith tourism experiences. Anyways, another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the great work that Ricky is doing in that area. And please don't try some of the things he has said at home, like charging somebody border ride from here to the gate for $50. He says it's very much against it, but thank you so much for those insights. Okay, moving on to a man who has really, you have really maneuvered this landscape very smartly. You understand the Ugandan entertainment industry very well, but what's very important is yours is not just entertainment, but it's really tourism. This is Talent Africa, and we have, for those of you who have just joined us, Mr. Ali Alibai, the CEO of Talent Africa Group. If you have attended or heard of events like Nyege Nyege, if you saw recently, Toro Kingdom was celebrating a Choto Ampango, which blends culture, fashion, tradition, a vibrant showcasing of Toro Kingdom's culture, storytelling, tourism. I saw, beyond social media, I also, had a first-hand encounter with some of the things that were happening there. Maybe you want to tell us, how do we, what kind of support, how should the resident Ugandans and the foreigners participate in, this event tourism?
Thanks, Roger. So I think large-scale events have a ripple effect across the tourism value chain. When we host international events and festivals, not only do we fill hotels and restaurants, but we also create a demand for transport, crafts, local food vendors, nightlife experiences. Events inject direct revenue into local communities and create employment opportunities, from technicians to security personnel, from artists to hospitality workers. Culturally, they serve as platforms for storytelling, identity expression, and cross-cultural exchange. Visitors will leave with a deeper appreciation of Uganda's people and heritage, and that kind of emotional connection turns tourists into ambassadors for the country. A little bit on numbers, for example, an event like Nyege Nyege, over one weekend. Jinja hotels and Jero hotels completely full. More than 5,000 tourists attend Nyege Nyege every through the festival. More than 500 artists and musicians. So there's a lot of events and entertainment has a huge economic impact on tourism. In fact, last year the Ministry of Tourism did a report on the economic impact on, and it's finally there and it's all written, so it's really nice.
Right, awesome. This is a moment where I invite questions from for the panel. If you have any questions, I don't know if I can get a roving mic, or you prefer the microphone coming to you, or do you want to write it down, or do you just want to stand up and okay, the hands seem to be working. Please stand up, state your name. Can I get a second microphone for a roving mic? Thank you. Right, this hand was up first. Okay. Gender selection, right? Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone. Timothy Mugahe. Sorry, I didn't get, the people I'm asking questions, I didn't get your names. My first question goes to the one who said border, Ricky, yes. From what you have said, to me, you achieved success at a very young age, which is a little bit challenging, and it requires a lot of things that you can't afford. How did you manage to cope up with that? I don't know if I'm clear, the way you are doing business, you are out-competing people who had what you don't have with the little you have. Then my second question goes to the lady seated next to you. Okay, I like the fact that in Africa they motivate us to do digital, to go digital. Personally, I'm doing an online shop for shoes. My fellow youth would be like, how much are your shoes? I'm like, this. Where is your shop? I'm like, my store is in Nairobi. I need to first see those shoes. But I'm like, if a live picture of the shoes I'm selling is given to you, I'm trying to cut the story short. You select the type and the size. If I don't deliver what you ask for, I do a refund. Because I ship from abroad, it has to be prepaid. They are like, no, for you are a personal, forgotten, personal shopper. And I'm like, okay. Then by God's grace, I managed to to do a small partnership, and when you achieve it, you get a lot of peer pressure from abroad. And then why my question goes to her is, you said there are many influencers internationally, but do we have access to them? Do we even know that they are there? How can we get to know them? Thank you so much.
Okay, 1, 2. Yes, there's a hand right here. I don't know whether you want to respond to those, or we first gather a few and take them in one go. The gentleman standing there had a question. The man asked about his online shopping experience, so I don't know what.
All protocols are observed. Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a concern, and I have the master of Nyege Nyege, and I would like him to clear the air so that the audience, when they go outside, will be the ambassador. In my village where I come from, we are biased, and people think Nyege Nyege is a different activity. So since I have opportunity, the same opportunity you have, I would like the vision bearer to clear it so that when we go out, we go with a bold message about tourism. Otherwise, if I choose to be honest, in the villages there are people who locks the doors with the 2 padlocks. People should not attend the function. Kindly clear the air. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one more. There's a hand right there, very strong hand behind there. Yes, the gentleman yes, right behind the cameras. If you could just pass on. I'm sure that will be enough on our plate. I don't know why you use 2 padlocks. I think it's like maybe there's a secret behind 1 or 2 padlocks. I don't know. We'll get to hear your details.
Names are Titus Kakembo.
Yes, sir.
Not so long ago, Asians gathered here to celebrate 50 years since Amin showed them the exit. Can't we make it an annual celebration now that the gentleman is there? Maybe he would canvass support and gather them up to come here and celebrate another anniversary whenever it passes on.
Okay, I think we can start with those few questions. There was a gentleman with the online shopping experience, and then we have the 2 padlocks, and now we also have Idi Amin's experience. Okay. Your hand is boiling now. It's not burning, it's boiling. Just one more here, and then we pack it up. Here, can I have that microphone, please? Or you could just simply pick this one here.
Thank you very much. Protocol observed. My name's Wellington Ngutia, General Manager, Ziwa Rhino and Wildlife Ranch in Nakasongola. Actually, for me, it was just a comment, and I want to thank Safe Border for also partnering with us, taking your guest to Ziwa Rhino. And please, I would like to urge everyone, please visit Ziwa Rhino and Wildlife Ranch, where you meet the rhinos in their natural habitat. Please don't just concentrate on the one on Uwek in Entebbe. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's very well noted. I think we should, I don't know who wants to go first. Yes, very good. Let's get these padlocks out of the way.
Thank you. Nyege Nyege, the irresistible urge to dance festival attracts more than 40,000 people every year. Have you been to Nyege Nyege? Okay, so then you know what happens. It's a lot of fun, it's a lot of culture, it's a lot of vibes, and there's a lot of misperceptions, and the misperceptions is what actually makes us more famous. But everyone who's come to Nyege has gone home and said, I gotta go back next year. So, you know, we kind of, people always say, like, you know, what's your marketing strategy? And this thing of Nyege Nyege not being on and then coming back on has always helped us and made the numbers even bigger. But everyone who comes to Nyege knows how it is. It's a 4-day celebration, you know, 7 stages full of music, dance, culture, art, and everyone who knows there knows about it. So thank you for your question and allowing me to tell you more about it.
I don't know who wants to answer the other gentleman's question. Then Kakembo had a question as well about, you had two questions. Okay, yours I think was addressed to Ricky directly. Right.
And her.
Ah, okay.
Rogers, thank you.
Yep.
So, one of the most common questions that young people usually ask me is how did I make it in this day and era, and when I'm still very young? Let's use this word, that business is, you don't find somebody doing something and you say he's made it, because now if I have made it, then there's no need for continued work, there's no need for continued innovation. There could be, because I haven't retired yet, I am a very young man. Sometimes these guys make me feel younger, but sometimes they also make me feel older. But it's a journey, and I really think that everyone has got an opportunity to build a story, an authentic story that people can relate with. Unfortunately, I wasn't really lucky that I come from a very well-to-do family. I lost my mom when I was 19. I lost my dad when I was 22. Total orphan, dropped out in senior 4, and found my way to Kampala with no friend, no relative, no money, but only with life and hope. So, and I've done so much. At my age, I think I'm around 38 years. Yes, born in 87. I'm 38 years. I've done so many jobs. My first job was putting tickets on people's cars, like what Multiplex actually does when you park on town. You have a car, you will have one, I prophesy. So when you park your car, those guys put tickets on you. That's what my first job, with a salary of 25,000. I left and came to Kampala, to Jinja, and I did the same job with a salary of 5,000 shillings per day for every day that I work. Afterward, I left and joined a company called Security Plus, Uganda Limited. It is actually still here in Bugolobi, where I was working for 80,000 shillings a month, and they took me to Kabale, where I worked for quite some time, came back, left them, joined a Kamwesi hostel as a guard at the gate, and at that point my salary was 120,000. This is 2009. I'm at the gate as an askari. Through the friends and people, because also one thing that some of the young people like me, or who are not privileged, they also forget that spiritually, God also works through people to bless you. Just like Satan also works through people to bring their cars closer to you. So, it's me, I believe that I wouldn't have been who I am if the people I met along my way did not offer him to support me. But also, if I had abused the support, I wouldn't have realized the value of that support and what they meant for me. Because I will tell you how I bought my first motorcycle, is that a friend asked me, Ricky, what are your dreams? What is it that you want to do? And I told him I wanted to start a music library. At that point, around 2010, music library was a thing, where you open a small music library and you start selling people's music on CDs and all of that. A guy offers me a laptop because he asked me how much was it. I said it's around 350,000, because that's what I used to see on the streets. When you walk around Kampala, there are people who do adverts of full set computers on the ground everywhere. They print in black and white on the electric poles. So that's what I used to see. So I told the guy it's 350, and instead of giving me 350,000, he gave me his laptop. He donated to me his laptop when he was leaving, because he was a student living in the hostel. Now, when he donated to me the laptop spent less than 2 weeks. Another student in the hostel came to me and said, Ricky, I like your laptop, I want to buy. It was that HP laptop with the, those HP that had the fingerprint sensor. So the guy comes to me and he's like, Ricky, I want to buy your laptop. And I'm like, oh, no problem. You want to buy, what kind of money, how do you want to buy? The guy offers me dollars. For the first time, late 2010, the guy gave me $400. Now, I will tell you what would happen to some young people if you give them $400. Life would become different. They offered me $400, and I picked the $400 and gave it to one of the students in the hostel called Ronnie. I gave it to him and take this money and bring it for me Ugandan money. A guy brought for me a bundle of money. So I put the money in the pocket. It was around 900 and something thousand. I have never been unsettled and failed to sleep in my life. Like what happened to me the night I had $400. It was around 900 and something thousand. So I put it in my pocket. I was an askari at the gate, but now I'm very rich. So I didn't buy water. I didn't jump on a border. I didn't go to eat food the way people like when they have money. So I accepted to suffer. So I even walked back home, but with money, but very unsecured. So I reached home, I slept with the money in my pocket. And that day, I don't know if I showered, I wouldn't want to talk about that, but I slept with money in my pocket, and my hand was here. I woke up in the morning to check I had money. So I walked back to work now. So it was on Sunday. So on Monday, and that Sunday, there was a pastor preaching and all of this. So what happened that Sunday when I received the money, in the morning, I saw a pastor preaching. I'm not going to mention his name because that can also be a promo for him. Now, and one of the questions I was asking, in my question I was asking God was like, why is it me? Why is it that my family is the one supposed to be suffering? In my family, nobody has a car, nobody has a border, nobody has a mabati house. And I never understood that. So that very day, spiritually, I got the money. On Monday, I came back and I bought the first motorcycle in our family. So all the money I got, I came back with it again the following day. I did not spend a coin. When I had that money, so now I started asking for a motorcycle to buy. I even called the border and they said, I'm like, I want a motorcycle. They brought for me a motorcycle, UDH 913R, which I bought 1,050,000. I had some saving in some bank, which I'm also not going to mention their name. But I had some small savings, so I went and got that money, top it up, and bought my border. When I bought my border, this is also something for young people, because I think part of the problem right now is that our young people, some of them are very focused, some of them are not, it needs to be trimmed. So when I bought my motorcycle with a salary of 120,000, the management of Akamwisi Hostel at the time, that was Dr. Julian. Dr. Julian was now our boss. The lady of chairs, she was now our boss at the time. So the management decided to give me a salary increment immediately because I had become rich. But then I was a very good askari because as you can see me, there is no time for jokes. So when it comes to business, it is business. So I got a salary increment immediately. That very week, my salary was increased from 120 to 140. And I stayed working for Akamwisi Hostel while riding the border in the morning and in the evening for another 4 months, while training somebody to replace me, because most of the people I found at work had all been fired. I was the only senior person remaining at the gate. After the 4 months, I handed over, left, and joined border full time. So if someone is questioning how I got here, you should just probably appreciate the discipline that this comes with and the commitment that comes with.
Thank you very much. What a story, and I'm very sure after this you are going to have a one-on-one.
And Rogers,
yes.
I haven't made it, so I'm looking for more people to partner with and all of that. We have safe car, safe border, you know, we do payments, we can support. We can also train your team. If you have a team of riders that do not know how to ride very well and not safe, we can also do business. So, Togamati, I have made it because we are still looking for more business.
The man is carrying the ecosystem with him all the way. All right, another round of applause for Ricky, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, time seems to fly when you're having fun, just when you're beginning to get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly run through our panelists to give us some parting shots on our theme has been or is emerging trends in tourism. And I'm sure you have sketched around and you have seen some of the things that we should be looking out for going forward. There's that hand there, and I don't want you to... Oh, your question was about the having an anniversary of Indian expulsion. I do not know whether that would be a very popular event, but do you want to have a go? Anybody wants to talk about it as an event? Because I don't know what kind of how you'd market that. Really, say, hi, come to Uganda. We're celebrating expulsion. I don't know.
Roger,
What do you guys-
maybe the comeback.
Yeah.
Maybe the comeback, because
Yes.
as you can see, the new government definitely accepted Asians to come back, and they are part of our community. Maybe Afro-Asian, I would call it that.
I believe it's now a very very well intermarried, intermixed community that we can't be looking historically at some of those things which may be, I don't know. If you ask me, I'll probably give it another, repackage it differently. You're the stars here. You probably call it. Well, anyway, 2 more, and then I will have my panelists winding up. That hand over there before you fall off your chair, sir. Hey, oh, okay. Please forgive me. There's the lady, the gentleman, and then we'll wrap it right there. The gentleman over here. Yes, very quickly, and you pass the microphone to the lady behind you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate everyone. And my question is, it goes to the gentleman of the Nyege Nyege guy. Number one, you see, I cannot wake up one day and call my son light unless I know what it means. I want you to elaborate a little bit on the meaning of the word, the term or the word Nyege Nyege. Number two, you talk about, when my colleague here asks you about the Nyege Nyege still, you said Nyege Nyege, it's about fun, music, dance, and culture. We are black people. I think you are, isn't it? Now, tell us, the culture you are talking about, is it about us or your culture? Because as far as I know, in Uganda here, it's like we are the biggest, I think, ethnic group in Africa. Could you please elaborate about the culture exactly? Which culture are you talking about? Thank you.
Okay, you can pass the microphone to the lady behind you. She had another question directed towards Nyege Nyege.
No, thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Right.
My question is directed to the panelists from FUFA.
Yes.
Yes. During your discussion, you talked about, very big figures, very big sums of money that are coming with AFCON. So my question is, for the Ugandan tourism business, people in the business are really young. So are there any deliberate actions or initiatives that are being put up for them to partake into the opportunities that come with AFCON? Thank you.
Right, and that hand over there, there's one at the back. And for those of you who are into tourism, you have events, or you're participating anywhere in the ecosystem of tourism, and you'd like to get your material on television, please contact me after this. I will tell you how we get your content out on television. You talk to me directly. Okay.
Thank you very much. To throw more light on the question the gentleman had, I think his question was how would we tap into the Asian community, that event where he was meaning the Indians and Asians who were chased away. How would we tap into it to make it a tourism event like the way we made Nyege Nyege an event?
Okay, and the very final question right here, the gentleman right here in the front. Thank you. We'll be available for interaction, just very brief interaction after this session here. But first, yes.
Greetings and salutations, well done. Mine is a two-part. It's a comment.
Right.
We are building the most high-end resort in Uganda, starting this October, in Bwindi on Lake Mutanda. So I look forward to interacting with interested buyers. We have a very good opportunity for you. Question. I have a background in user experience design, and I believe that with this approach to design, we can create meaningful experiences that share the frustration users experience when working with digital spaces, physical spaces. So I wanted to ask all of you, I know Safe Border is consistently updating, I've been keeping track, but I wanted to ask the rest of the panel people, how are you integrating user experience in your business models such that end users or businesses are better able to appreciate the value that you are sharing with people? So in short, I just want to hear, if it's possible, what is your strategy in terms of articulating user experience in your designs, in your unique value propositions? Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we'll take it from that point. I'm going to ask my panelists, as they're giving the answers to these questions, we'll also throw in somewhere parting shots. But the burning ones right there, I'm sure Mr. Aliba, you would like to have a go quickly.
Sure thing. Once again, Nyege Nyege, the irresistible urge to dance. Maybe you didn't. In regards to its uniqueness lies in the authenticity and celebration of diversity. Experience that blends together global sounds with African rhythms, visual art. And what makes it powerful is that it's inclusive, youth-driven, and unapologetically Ugandan. We showcase cultural troupes from all over the country, artists from all over the country, and it's Ugandan while still being open to the world. The lesson here is that tourism thrives when we offer genuine, locally rooted experiences. We don't need to imitate global trends, we need to confidently showcase our Nyege Nyege demonstration to create a world-class event. Thank you.
Okay, there was a question about sports, so Mr. Rogers, if you want to go.
To the...
And maybe give us a few parting shots as we're wrapping up this session. Thank you.
I will do. Actually, I want to thank you for that very good question. As local organizing committee, we are very particular about local content. Local content because we want most of this money to be spent in country. It is only things that cannot be provided for or supplied within in country that will actually go out and buy them from out of the country. So we expect much of the budget to be spent in country. But also allow me to say that by hosting these two events, we are going to have direct spend by both the participants and those that are attending. And that spend is in country here. So people that are providing goods and services will be able to partake on that spend. We are also creating jobs, about 2,000 jobs for workforce and volunteers in country, in Uganda. And the same in Kenya, and even probably even more in Kenya and Tanzania. These competitions are stimulating local businesses. I know for a fact a number of companies that have partnered with global partners of CAF to be able to provide local expertise and a local footprint here. There is boost in infrastructure. $100 million is being spent in Hoima to do the Hoima City Stadium. $120 million is being spent in Lira to do the Akibwa Stadium, whereas most of that might go out to import the finishes here and there. The bulk of it remains within the local community. There is going to be, or there is already happening, investments in hotels and hospitality in the localities where the venues of AFCON will be, particularly in Hoima and Lira, where investment in hotels and hospitality is already happening to uplift the standards so that they are able to receive the international guests. There is increased demand of goods and services like transportation and entertainment, Because if you've been to any of the footballing events, I don't know how to explain it. I've been to events where people come, the stadium hosting is 40,000, but over 1 million people pour into that town. And many of them do not even go to the stadium, but go to fun parks, and they're only looking for a place where to shower from, freshen up, and go back to the fun park and enjoy the food and the drinks. So there is increased economic activity, which actually generates more taxes for the country. But for you to be able to bring down these major sporting events, you need government on your side. For the case of AFCON, the government had to sign about 7 guarantees. Some of them is issues of visa, ease of migration within the country, workforce in terms of work permits, the people that are coming here to bring the expertise, to get free visas, ease of foreign exchange. Luckily for Uganda, we have a very liberal foreign exchange market, but it's not the case elsewhere. Issues of security, to guarantee security. Rick here was talking about, we take it for granted. But when you have, an influx of 1 million people in your country, some of whom you don't even know where they are staying, it is important to have all-round security that guarantees that the visitors are safe. And therefore, it requires a little bit more vigilance than normal from the security forces, not just police, but all the security forces coordinated to ensure that all the entertainment places, of course, Uganda is famed for nightlife, all entertainment places, or even all the suburbs, are all tracked. Then there are guarantees also on, I've spoken about work permits, I've spoken about forex security, improved health care. Because of the influx of people, you need to have dedicated health facilities that are dedicated to the visitors. And we are going to see a lot of improvement, I think, Mulago, Zambia, Rubaga, but also the general hospitals in Hoima, Masindi, and Lira and Gulu, where the teams will be best. So there is a lot of improvement. But the key factor for me, and if there are policymakers here, is the issue of taxation. As Ugandans, as URA, we tend to look at at short term, and we don't look at the bigger picture. We want to tax everything from the onset, even that could have probably a much bigger ripple effect, but for us to want tax here. And I think UTB and Minister of Tourism, as we seem to be now having a focus of attracting conferences, sporting events here, the issue around taxation. Imagine our friends down in Rwanda have applied to have a Formula 1 circuit in Kigali and South Africa. Just imagine the kind of equipment that comes around with Formula 1. If you're going to tax that equipment and you don't give exemptions, look at what you'd be missing, the bigger picture. So if we are going to focus on attracting, high-value events in this country, the issue about taxation, I mean, we are going to have TV production that is going to project this country in a much positive image. But the policy is that the airport, on arrival, if you have equipment more than $1,000, it is taxable. And these are, international crewmen, professional broadcast houses that are coming down. Even if it is individual influencers that are having high-level gadgets, if we are going to target and tax the equipment that is coming in, and yet they are coming to create local content, but for international projection, it is important that discussion is discussed at a higher level. I was discussing with Alibai here just before we came here, and I was asking how comes lately we no longer have big international music stars coming to Uganda. We used to get big international music stars, the Shaggies and mid-level. And he said one of his challenges is taxation. Before even the musician comes here, he's got to pay around about 28%, 30% in taxes, withholding tax, VAT on services procured outside of the country. So, and yet, if these musicians come, and there will be people from the region coming to watch them here, all right? And that is money that you're spending. But also, their crews will be taking very good production that they can then project outside. The same way we follow all these big concerts all over the world. And they project the country in a much more positive image. But then the tax is a big disadvantage. So while we are discussing these things, it is important government and policymakers understand what are the bottlenecks, how do we address them? And then we can project our country and position it for all these major global events that eventually bring all this kind of money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I let Mr. Rogers speak a little longer because on the panel he didn't really get quite the time to elaborate on a lot of those things. But as it is right now, we are wrapping it up. We are winding up, and what we're having are parting shots. So I have 7 minutes to wrap this up. So I don't know how I'm going to pull this one off and be able to get through to the last panelists to say what they have to say. But if we can say this very briefly, Mr. Ayun, first of all, is this your first time in Uganda?
Yes.
First time. Let's give him a round of applause. A warm Ugandan welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. One of the things we highly recommend is a Rolex, and has nothing to do with watches.
I know. I heard about it. Yes.
You don't need painkillers for that one. Yes. Very quickly, as we wrap it up in 1 or 2 minutes, anything you'd like to say very quickly?
Yeah. It's been my third day, and I did get a chance to experience the nightlife yesterday. I must say that's something very different that what we have in India. And I'm sure if at all global events are coming to Uganda, with all of your work that's been put into attracting global events, and I'm sure Indians would be attracted by that, and we would see a lot more Indians coming into the country because this place is literally magical. So, and I'm waiting for my fam trip, which starts day after tomorrow. I think that's going to completely change my perspective about Uganda.
Completely, and also fun trip. A very beautiful country indeed. We have a sample of every weather region in the world. If you were looking for a desert, we have it. If you're looking for winter, we have it. If you just want to be mid-range, you're right here.
Yeah.
So, right, thank you very much. Over to you, Jackie.
Thank you, Roger. I just want to say that the global destination wedding market has expanded from 36.2 billion in 2024, and now it is at 47.69 billion in 2025. It's time to tap on that market and be part of it, and the wedding planners are ready. They are looking for the new strategies internationally, globally. We just need to position ourselves, and this we are looking for definitely tour operators, lodges to partner with. Someone does the safari, I do the setup, a lodge hosts us, and we are ready to take this to another level. Thank you.
Wow, awesome. Okay, Ricky, we have had very interesting stories from you this evening. Yes, I know it's going to be very hard for you to wrap this one up, but if you can, please.
Yeah, because instead of recommending to him a safe border app, you recommended to him a Rolex, and he needs to move around. So Rogers, so we shall have another discussion after here.
Right. The Rolex will be delivered via safe border.
Yeah, you would have told him that. You just never talked about safe border. So anyway, it is going to be easy for me to wrap this up. There is a pending question by one of the safe border supporters. Very good. And he was actually asking, what is it that we do intentionally about the user experience? We avail ourselves and listen to them and appreciate their feedback and use it to better our business. I will tell you some of the things that we've decided to do, and this is going to sound even a little bit controversial, is that my conversation with media or with other people post-COVID, I loudly said, we will not do a safe car. And I tell you this, I clearly said, we are not going to do a safe car. And my belief at that time was that the future of urban transportation is about mass movement, you know. And if we're going to do anything, it has to be like a big bus, nicer, so we can get other people, probably, you know, be like the system that people can use to book into the buses and all of that. After COVID, what happened is that all the customers were calling the call center. You go to the support center and everyone is telling you, but customers are asking for cars. Customers are asking for cars. They are calling and asking, why don't you give us the cars? The one that is available, some international company that was in the market, is giving them a very bad experience. They need something local, they need something original, they need something African, they need something for the people of Kampala by the people of Kampala. And I tell you this, we listen to them. And sometimes when people, when people pay you money, it is also within your responsibility to give them the attention, listen to them, and fix some of the feedback that they give you. So they kept telling us, give us cars, we need the car, we need the car. And there was a heated debate in the boardroom. And it reached a point where some of us lost the battle. And also the need for survival. And the day we launched Safe Car like this, we started making some money. So it is very good. After here, people who are going in big numbers use Safe Car. Very important for safe border. I also want to say this, that as my parting shots, it's more of a prayers, that I pray and request that Ugandans as people, as business community,